Okay, this is God's story. At first, He made the world perfect, and then we all started running away and making sins. And then we broke the world apart, and then He died on the cross, and then He rose from the dead 3 days later. And then if we make Him king, He will make us friends with God again, and He will fix the world.
You just watched one of our kiddos share the gospel using a tool that we love to use at Oak Tree to share the gospel called the 3 Circles. I love this tool because it's really simple, it's really visual, and it's easy to explain to anybody, whether it be kids or adults. And it's not a script, so you can tailor it to whatever the situation is and whatever the person's background understanding is. You don't have to use a lot of churchy language, you don't have to understand a lot of the Bible, but you can tell God's story in a really clear and simple way. So it goes like this. In the beginning, God made the world and it was perfect. There was nothing wrong, there was no brokenness, everything was right, but sin came into the world. We have all decided to go our own way and do what we want, instead of sticking with God and His design for the world. And because of sin and because of that rebellion, the world has become broken, and we can see that everywhere around us. And we obviously don't like this brokenness. There's a lot of bad things about that. So we all try to escape the brokenness through different things. We might look for happiness in relationships, thinking that will satisfy us and make us happy. We might think, if I get successful, if I make a lot of money, you might try to numb the pain through drugs, alcohol, other things, or even try to do what's right. And that's why this arrow kind of points backwards, thinking like, if I do good enough, I'll get back to where I should be with God. But none of that works. Those are like little bungee cords. They just bounce us back into brokenness. But God knew that we couldn't get back to His perfect design on our own. So He made a way. He had a plan from the beginning of time. And at the right time, He sent Jesus. And Jesus came down and lived on this earth. He was fully God and fully man. He never did anything wrong, even though He was tempted just like we have been. And then He died on the cross. But 3 days later, He rose again, proving that He was more powerful than sin and death, and taking on God's wrath for us. So that if we turn from our sins and trust in Jesus and we make Him the king or the boss of our lives, He forgives us of our sins and we can be restored back to a right relationship with God, or as I like to say, be friends with God again. So even though the world is still broken, we have God living inside of us, and one day we have this hope that God will make it all right again. So I like to ask, where do you see yourself in this picture? Have you trusted in Jesus and are restored to a relationship with God, or are you still living in brokenness?
This is the short version. God made it, we broke it, Jesus fixed it, and whoever watches this will buy me some pizza.